What's going on in the Tampa Bay real estate market? Hey, it's Sean Reddy, Keller Williams Reddy Group. Each and every month, we bring you the month over month and year over year stats in 9 key health metrics of the Tampa Bay real estate market, so that if you are planning on entering the market, maybe you're already in the market as a seller, as a buyer, doing both at the same time, you can use this data to your advantage. And stay tuned to the end, because I'll give you my top 3 tips on how to leverage this data regardless of if you are buying or selling a home. So let's jump right in. If you've seen this before, I do color code these trend lines, or these trends. Green if that trend moved in favor of a seller, red if it moved in favor of a buyer, yellow if it's neutral. And you can see lots more red showed up in September than in August in the Tampa Bay market. So let's get into the biggest movers of the month, starting with closed sales. Closed sales dropped 10.5% month over month. That is a huge drop, the likes of which you don't typically see in a month over month, especially when you go back to last month's purchase contracts only fell by 1.6%. So my suspicion is there's probably a lot of contract fallout in the month of September with a 10.5% drop. Another big mover, new purchase contracts, speaking of, fell for the 4th straight month, down 6.3% in September. Also falling for the 4th straight month is total inventory, down 1.4% in September compared to August. Now, I don't think anyone's out there, waiting for more inventory to make a move, but if you are, 4 straight months of falling total homes on the market, maybe something to pay attention to. But if you are a buyer, you want to see these falling contracts and falling closed sales, because that means you as a buyer have less competition. Interestingly enough, the market times, average and median days on market, both fell. First time we've seen them both fall in a while, but median days on market went from 47 to 43. That's good for an 8.5% drop. Average days on market fell for the 2nd straight month, down 1.4%. So the homes that did go under contract in September did so a little more quickly. Now let's get to price. And I want to caveat this because when you see prices up or down, average and median price, not necessarily indicative of values across the board, since it is only measuring the homes that closed in any particular month. Yet the average price of what closed in September down nearly 8% compared to what closed in August. 481 and some change compared to 522,800. So that's a pretty steep drop. The median price also fell by $5,000. That's good for 1.28% drop. Slight drop in the leverage factor, the leverage ratio, what I like to call it, which measures the median sold price to last asking price, not original asking price, but last asking price ratio there. So there's your month over month look. And again, scoreboard's lighting up with more reds, especially as we get into the 4th quarter here. That trend is likely to continue. Now, year over year, what does that look like? In the Tampa Bay market, lots of red. So we do see a couple green spots here, a couple seller favoring year over year trends. Closed sales, they did fall for the month of September compared to August. They are up a whopping nearly 20% compared to September of last year. Now, let's think back a moment. September last year, we know what the area was going through with Helene. So that certainly busted up a lot of pending sales and caused them not to close. So not going to really compare it. Same thing with purchase contracts, up 10%. But again, a lot of people were dealing with a lot of things back then in September of 24. So it was expected that purchase contracts would go up. Now, inventory, it is down again for the 4th straight month. However, up 15.7% year over year with over 14,000 homes for sale. By the way, this measures Hillsborough and Pinellas counties combined. So if you're looking for more micro data for your town or your suburb or your, even your street, let us know. Drop a comment. Happy to run the numbers for you in that regard as well. Now, Average and median days on market, both up pretty sizably year over year. So it is taking longer for homes to sell. There are more homes coming to market this year than last year, 5.4% increase in new listings. We already talked about the available homes jumping up by nearly 16%. Now, check this out. Average and median price. Again, what sold in the month of September compared to September of last year, average is down significantly, 7%. This is quite a bit of months in a row that we've seen the average price, and even in some cases, the median price falling. So that falling knife continues to fall in terms of home values. Median price down 3.7% to 385. And that leverage factor I mentioned, the sold price to list price ratio, down 1.3%. Well, Sean, what does that look like longer term? So glad you asked. So we've kept this data since August of 2022. Why August of 2022? Well, it's right around the time that the sudden spike in mortgage rates started really affecting the real estate market. So we now have perspective of over 3 years worth of data to which to draw conclusions, or from which to draw conclusions, I should say. Now, I got some graphs for my visual people, and we'll run through these real quickly. First one being market times. Average days on market in the blue, median days on market in the red. And you can see there's not really any patterns here. Obviously, last year in back-to-back hurricanes, we saw a spike. But other than that, they've been just kind of slowly trending upwards. Except for the last month, 2 months for the average, month and a half, I guess, for the median. Trending down. We'll see if that actually continues or if it's just a blip. Now, more complex, yet much more informative graph here. And I'm going to pause on this one. This one, I'm going to start with the red. The red is available homes on the market. So you can see that general trend upward over the last few years. Now, lately, that number has been trending downwards, although the downward line is a little flat in the last month. But when you have, let me just leave that there for a second. So that's available homes. New purchase contracts, that's in the yellow. So the amount of homes that are going to contract every month. Not this huge downturn that you'd expect if you got your real estate news from a national media outlet. But also not trending upwards as well. Kind of some peaks and valleys, a little mini seasonality, if you will. And then the blue line is new listings coming to market. So for over here in this area, not a big spread between that red and that yellow. Market was much more seller favoring in spring of 2023, which means you list a home, you sell a home pretty much. Now you have this huge gap between that red line and that yellow line. And that's where for some sellers, it's going to feel like a very, very slow market. Why? Well, competition. You have tons of homes on the market, and to frame it, 14,000 homes on the market and less than 3,000 homes went under contract. So there you have that. So an important thing to note, year to date in 2025, less than half of the homes that have come to the market have actually sold. And that's where some of our guarantee programs kick in. So if you are looking for certainty in your sale, definitely reach out. We'll talk about what we can do to help you. Next up, closed sales. Peaks and troughs heading downwards, obviously, as we typically do this time of year. I'll skip 2024 just because, again, the back-to-back storms, but look at 2023. Started trending down in June and bottomed out in January. Similar here, except the ceiling is lower. My suspicion is the floor is probably going to be lower too, but expect that to trend down over the next few months. Average price and median price. Again, this is measured on a monthly basis, what closed in each of those months, and it's plotted out as such. Main draw here, main takeaway is you don't see this, again, heavy downward trend over the last few years, but you do see some micro trends here and there. And this last drop in average selling price is really approaching the floor over the last 3+ years. And we should really pay attention to that. what that suggests is that, one, sellers are more cognizant of this huge gap here and pricing their homes accordingly in order to sell their homes. I think I may have broken that. That's okay, we'll fix it later. And then two, just the downward pressure that all that supply and lower demand has on home pricing. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But if you've been in the camp of, hey, let's wait a couple months and see if this market picks back up, really not seeing signs of that in terms of home prices. In fact, maybe trending the opposite direction. Not maybe, it is. Lastly, sold price to list price ratio. This again is that leverage factor that I mentioned. Peaks and valleys here. It mainly hovers between 97 and 100%. It doesn't stray too far outside of that. A couple months here and there below 97. A couple months that are right at 100%. The better that the market, meaning sellers, get about pricing their home to where it will actually sell, the more that's going to be in line with the high 90s into low 100s. But if you see this huge disconnect where homes are, getting this 5+% discount from final asking price, I don't think we see that ever again, just because there is, so much information available on the internet to prevent the sellers that are actually selling from being out of line with their prices, from being out of touch. So again, expect that to stay in that 97 to 100% range. And yeah, there you have it. So in essence, in order to leverage this data, first of all, again, this is a macro level look at Hillsborough and Pinellas counties combined. You really want to hone in on more of a micro level look if you are intending on using today's real estate market vital signs in taking advantage to your real estate goals. So if you have a trusted professional who's as proficient with this data as you're seeing here, lean hard on that person. If you don't, love to be a resource for you. Just drop a comment. Find me on social media. Again, Sean Reddy, Keller Williams Reddy Group. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next month in this segment.